Good evening, everyone. How are we on this rainy evening? Excellent. Great. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Tira Adside. On tonight's episode of TED Talk, we're going to be talking about global warming, or as some of us may call it, climate change, and the relationship it has with animal agriculture. We will also be discussing how to live a more sustainable life while eliminating this ongoing issue. Now, before we begin, by a raise of hands, how many of us know what climate change is? Okay. Climate change is change in a global or regional climate, patterns in particular. It's a change that has been apparent from the mid to late 20th century onwards. Climate change is attributed largely to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuels. Now, you may be asking yourself, what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are a natural fuel such as coal or gas made from the remains of a living organism. Living. Okay. Such organisms and the resulting of fossil fuels typically have an age of 1 million years and sometimes more than 650 million years old. Now that we understand what global warming is or what climate control is, let's talk about sustainable living. Sustainable living is a lifestyle that attempts to reduce an individual's or a society's use of Earth's natural resources and personal resources. Practitioners of sustainable living often attempt to reduce their carbon footprint by altering methods of transportation, energy, consumption, and diet. Just like some of our audience members here today, most Americans recognize that climate change is a thing. However, some are still unsure what causes it. Tens of thousands of scientists in more than 100 nations have amassed an overwhelming amount of evidence pointing to a clear conclusion. Humans are the main cause. Let that sink in. Let's have a quick science lesson here. According to the Climate Reality Project, the Earth's atmosphere is a mixture of gases. Some of these gases are known as greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases is when the heat from the sun is trapped into the ground to warm the Earth up. Now, I know this may seem a little bit scary since majority of us are Floridians and we are here in Florida today, but this is a good thing. Without this, our planet would freeze. Now that this cycle has been going on for the last thousands of years, that is, until the last 150 years when people started burning fossil fuels. Now remember when we said what fossil fuels are. They're things like coal, oil, and natural gases. These fossil fuels contain a carbon that's been locked away from the natural cycle for eons, which is basically a really long time. But when we burn them, this now becomes CO2. When this happens, this throws the balance out of whack, causing ice capsules to melt, which will lead to oceans rising, which, again, us Floridians know that is not a good thing. Now, these fossil fuels are found in 96% of the items we use each day. The International Association of Geophysical states that these fossil fuels are mainly used for gasoline, for cars, the jet fuel, heating oil, and natural gases to generate electricity, such as a power plant. Now, all of this information sounds insane. I know. And it makes you want to ride a bike basically everywhere you go. However, that's just one of two major causes for climate change. Another major reason for air being polluted is, are you ready for it? cows. Yep, you heard me, cows. Livestock is a major contributor to the greenhouse gas pollution right here, right up there with cars, planes, and trains. And at the rate that we're producing them at a worldwide scale, emission of cows like gas and radiation, along with practices in other beef production that threaten to mess up our climate, our land, and our water. You see, cows take up a lot of space, 30% of the land worldwide, in fact. We use about 8 times the land for feeding these animals than we do for humans. For example, places such as Brazil with acres of forest are still being cleared today for livestock. And due to this is creating more pollution, and it destroys a perfectly good place for obtaining that carbon dioxide. And we're also killing many ecosystems that live in this rainforest. It takes about 1,800 gallons of water to make a single pound of beef. So, just in case you didn't know, cows drink a lot of water, which also means they eat a lot of food. Before the 1970s, cows mostly ate grass. It's great, right? But then Congress passed this bill that basically allows corn to be in everything, from the sodas you drink, the cereals you eat, the food your dog eats, and guess what? Even the cow's food. Unfortunately, cows can't digest these things. They can only digest grass. So when a cow does digest foods like this, they become extremely gassy. You see, cows are ruminant, meaning that they create methane gas when they digest these foods. Methane has 21 times more climate changing power than CO2, and in America, we produce more greenhouse gases than 22 million cars per year just by breeding these animals. Cows also produce about 500 million tons of manure in a year, and that's 3 times as much as we do. Cow manure also creates a nitrous oxide, which has 3 times the global warming effect of CO2. And it's not the cow's fault. It's the system that we as a society have created, along with how we decided how to create this energy that we need. Living a more sustainable life is really easy. And according to the Center of Biological Diversity, here are some easy tips for you to have a more sustainable life. You can reduce household energy, such as turning off appliances, the lights that you're not using, install energy efficient appliances, and use a programmable thermostat that basically lowers and raises the temperatures every time you're not home. Another powerful way to live more sustainably is to eat locally. The convenience of grocery stores today have now changed about what people think about food. You can also plant some seeds, grow your own food. Again, instead of taking that trip to the grocery store, walk to your backyard and get the same fruits you would be buying. Switch up your diet. Maybe don't eat that beef or become a vegan. Who knows? Recycle. Not only plastic and cardboard or styrofoam, but as well as old clothes. So basically, start donating and shopping at thrift stores. Drink from tap. Carry a recyclable water bottle. By even using one of these tips for living a more sustainable life, you are cutting your carbon footprint by more than half. And it only takes one person to create a change. So why not that person be you?